Hello everybody, one more time. My name is Alex Centeno with Mercados Interactive Partners. Today we're going to be taking a look at a very cool thing. So you're probably not going to be using Photoshop to be rendering video or grading video for that matter, but sometimes you want to do the same thing with an image. You want to grade it so that it looks like film. And one of the things that I've been looking at recently is film emulation. And so there are companies like Vision Color that have film emulation LUTs, particularly Impulz, and they have another product, I can't remember their name, but basically to me it wasn't extremely straightforward how to use them at first, and so I thought that I would make a video tutorial in order to explain the process of grading an image to make it look like film. And so that's what we're gonna be taking a look at today. So without further ado, let's try to do this pretty quickly. So we're gonna be doing this in Photoshop because we're doing just a still image, and again, as I said before, you don't want to be rendering this if you're using video. You don't want to be rendering with Photoshop, and the reason is because it takes very long. So here we have it. This is the image that we're going to be trying to replicate today. So let's start from scratch. So I'm gonna just delete all of my layers here. So let's see. So drop that, and then drop this. All right. So here we have our starting image. This is from a GH4 camera, and basically this image, what we're going to be using first is a noise reduction and then a sharpening mask. So since this tutorial is not about those things, then we're going to kind of skip over that, but it is very simple. First thing is you're going to drop your footage or your image into a layer, right? In this case, since it's video, then of course I'm going to have a video layer, but this app applies to still image. So you have it. Then you're going to change it into a smart object. So very easily you're just going to right click, and then you're going to convert it to smart object, just like this, which I of course have already done. And then I'm going to apply an unsharp mask and a reduced noise mask. And the way that I do it is that I reduce the noise first and then do the sharpening afterwards. So that's why you see it in this order right here. Excellent. So once you have your image, the first thing you're going to do is add a LUT. So come to the adjustment layers and add a color lookup, and we get this panel right here. So we're going to select it, and we're going to go to our Impulz folder, which has, depending on the package that you ended up purchasing from them, they have 3 different kinds. I'm using the Ultimate here, but you can of course select the ones that you purchase from them. So I'm going to be using the GH4 camera. So I'm going to be selecting my negative from the GH4 Cinelite D folder here. So I'm going to click over there, and these are the ones that come for this GH4 camera. So first step is to actually select from the negatives that so you can see that some of them in parentheses they have the word negative, and so I'm going to be using the 200T 5213. So 200T 5213. So Kodak Vision 3 200T 5213 negative, and so we have 4 options here. We have the Cineon, the FC, which stands for contrast and saturation, then the FPE for print, film print, or film contrast, film print, and then VS, which is like basically um, a little bit like the Cineon, but with better contrast. So you have to decide which one you're going to use. In my opinion, if you're going to be grading, like we're going to be doing today, you're going to be using always the Cineon one. Some people like to grade from the VS. So the important thing at this stage is to select one that has the negative in the parentheses, because this is the first step into replicating the film look. So I'm going to be using this. I have a GH4 camera. I'm going to Vision 3 200T 5213 negative Cineon gamma and hit open. And let's close that. So there you go. So now it looks muggy and looks very much like a Cineon converted film, right? So the second step is to add another one, another color lookup table, a LUT, and so we're going to select it. And this time we're going to select from the Cineon conversions. So go to Cineon conversion, and here you can select from the different conversions that you may have. Of course, if you went with the ultimate package, you're going to have more conversions, and if you went with a less expensive one, you're going to have less conversion options. But in this case, I'm going to go with the D60 2383 print FPE for print from Cineon to 2383 and hit open. And let's close that. So it's already looking really good by itself, but of course the purpose of doing the Cineon first is to actually go ahead and do some color grading. So in between these two, this one's going to be for print, this one is the negative, so in between this two is the color grading process. So I'm going to add first the curves layer. As you can see, I can adjust this, and I'm keeping an eye on my histograms as well, so that I'm increasing the contrast. If I'm going for a film look, of course I'm gonna keep the contrast at a little bit lower than normal, but if I'm going for a more crisp look video style, then I can increase the contrast a little more. So I kind of like it like there. And increase a little bit more of the contrast here. It's kind of looking okay there. And X out. Alright, good. So that's my curves. Now, one thing that I want you to notice here is that my trees are actually looking extremely orange or brown. They don't really have like a green tint to them. So I'm going to use another adjustment layer here with the hue and saturation. Not that one, sorry. So let's get rid of that vibrance. Hue and saturation, there you go. And I'm going to select my drag tool here and click and drag on top of one of the trees, and that will select effectively my yellows, although you would think that normally it would be greens for the trees, but it's more yellow. So selects the greens there. I'm going to increase the saturation now a little bit, and I'm going to change also the hues. By making it to the left, I'm making them more towards red, as you can see, or brown, and by taking it to the right, I can actually make them more towards the green hue. That's looking pretty good. Definitely much better than before. In fact, if we see it before and after, before and after, you can see that trees are looking more like trees. All right, and pretty much that's it in terms of color grading. Now, if you really want to go for the film look, then you want to do two extra things at this point. The first one is to add some grain. So I'm going to drag some grain that comes from the Ultimate package that Impulz has. And I'm going to put this grain outside here. And I'm going to drag it here. Well, I'm actually going to redo this just to show you something. So I'm going to trash that. As you could see, because I didn't close the group and I dragged that in, then that automatically put it at the end here. So if I just close the group and then drag, then it puts it at the beginning of my playhead here, which of course is much better than what I did at first, trying to drag it from the end or whatnot. So there you go. So now of course if I change my playhead here on top of my footage, then of course you can see that I don't see any of my footage, but I'm going to change this to overlay, and there you have it, all the grain. Of course you're not going to leave it there, you're going to change it to an opacity of about 35%. I think it's okay for 4K grain. And that's it. It has the grain. And then finally we're going to add the CinemaScope. So I'm going to grab it from my desktop, drag and drop it here. So 4K is 3840 by 2160 pixels. So that's the size that I made my CinemaScope PNG crop here, the crop lines, and that makes it look, of course, a lot more cinematic. And there you have it. Of course, now from this point on, you could do, you could just export it for the web or save it as a TIFF or whatever you want to do from this point on. But now you have your image that actually looks like cinema. One last little tip there. If you also want, you can do a vignette from this point on. So gradient, select a vignette. Of course, these vignettes I've done myself, so you're probably not going to have this in your Photoshop files, but it's extremely easy. All you want to do is go from black to black, and then like this upper pointers here, they allow you to control the opacity. So this opacity is at 100 here, and this one is at 0, so it has a gradient of opacity from side to side. So then you can save it as a vignette and hit OK, then go to radial, then you can scale it to taste, and then reduce the opacity to not make it too evident there. Alright, so basically that is the use of the Impulz Luts by Vision Color to create the film look, in this case with Photoshop. Of course, this process or this workflow can be applied to color grading video, just like you would do with DaVinci Resolve, or you would do with After Effects, and what you would do with Premiere, for example. So hopefully this is helpful, because some of you, of course, love to use Photoshop and love to use still images with that film look. So hopefully this gave you a little bit of a better idea how to use the Impulz Luts to get a film emulation result. So if you have any questions or comments, just let us know in the comments below in the YouTube channel. We love to hear all the fantastic things that you come up with. So, anyways, again, my name is Alex Centeno. Thank you for watching. Have a great day. Bye-bye.
Mercados is a strategic web studio located in the Research Triangle area in North Carolina. Our focus is to help businesses of all sizes make more money through the use of strategic website design, custom digital media development, and web marketing. For more information, you can contact us at 888-525-8117 or visit us on the web at mercados.com. Mercados, creatively smart.